Sairam, and a warm welcome to another episode of the Innovation with a Purpose podcast series from Sri SSSIHL Learning Institute's Innovation Council, IIC. Warm welcome and good evening, Dr. Uday Kiran. How are you doing today?
Sairam, brother, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for sparing time today. So we got 5 themes, Uday, that we're going to deal with. We're going to start off with AI with compassion for society. That's theme 1. We look at data-driven healthcare for rural communities, and there are a couple of impactful stories that we're going to deal with there. Also look at transparency and equity in rural economics and explainable AI for public health schemes. Finally, we'll sign off with interdisciplinary research for the future. These are the 5 themes that we're going to deal with. And for the audience, Dr. Uday Kiran Nori is an expert in mathematical analysis, interested in diverse fields of mathematical analysis that include micro-local analysis, functional analysis, and algebraic analysis. He uses these methods to study the behavior of differential equations and to analyze medical images. Is actively involved in research work along with full-time teaching duties. He also loves teaching students the art of problem solving through puzzles, games, and anecdotes. So Dr. Uday completed his master's and doctorate degrees from Sri SSSIHL Learning, Prashanthalayam. He is currently the head Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Sri SSSIHL Learning. So warm welcome to you again, Uday. Any welcome words before we start off?
Yeah, of course. Maybe the interview will start with my question first to you, brother. So,
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, although we never fell in the same intersecting zones, you're also from Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, right?
Yes. So it started off back in 93. I remember the interview with Dr. Hanmantappa. He saw my maths marks, the 10th class 100 or 100, 11th around 91 and 12th 82. So the first comment he makes is, this guy is a maths guy. And the second comment he makes is that, we're launching a new course in maths, economics, and statistics. Would you be interested? This was towards the last part of the interview. Then I thought, yeah. Without blinking my eyes, I said, yes, definitely. And when I walked out of the interview room there, right, I knew that I was going to be selected. That's how the journey started. BSc, MES, Maths, Economics, Statistics. And I was good at maths because of a tuition teacher back in Hyderabad. But when I started attending sessions, we had Raghunath Sharma sir, just new into the department. We had Pallav sir, discrete mathematics. We had Dev Sen sir. Professor Naidu was the dean at the point of time. Venkateshwarlu sir, GBP sir, Prabhakar sir used to teach us statistics. Professor Pandit used to teach us mathematical economics. So the memories go back to the 93-98 era. So having said that, we will continue my inputs over there, but let me actually...
Now, of course, there is one hidden thread along with the Satya Sai thread. We also have the mathematics common to both of us.
Absolutely.
So that's very heartening. But of course, I think I have not seen you when you were a student because I joined, I think, in 1998 in Vrindavan campus. So by then, I guess you were already become an alumnus, right?
That's absolutely. I came out of bench.
But anyway, I'm very glad I'm getting to interact with you. Thank you.
Same here, Uday. Yes. So let's look at theme 1. We look at artificial intelligence. And before I ask you the question, I think I remember Professor GVP was our lecturer for the course called Artificial Intelligence back in the 90s. And the institute and Swami had that vision even then that, artificial intelligence was actually important then. So with that background, let's explore how AI can be purpose-driven rather than purely profit-driven, and how academic institutions ensure AI research is aligned with human values and societal needs. So a couple of questions. In what ways can compassion become a measurable principle in AI development and deployment according to you? And the first itself was a question like, how can academic institutions ensure AI research is aligned with human values and societal needs?
Yeah, so that definitely is a pertinent question to Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. We are also called DMAX. Okay, so sometimes I will use that short form. So Actually, at DMAX, we have three verticals: mathematics, computer science, and AI. So these days, people think that AI is a buzzword. It's one trending technology. So everybody is bandwagoning it.
Hmm.
But I should be very honest with you. Of course, you are aware of it. Swami inaugurated our AI lab back in 1993,
Yeah,
maybe your first UG,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And I should say almost every project of our MTech, at least 50% of them were relying on AI based technologies.
Right.
In fact, I was also an alumnus here, and
Hmm.
my project was also AI based,
Ah,
machine learning, face recognition.
mhm.
So for us, AI is not just yet another trending term,
Yeah,
but for us, AI is integral part of our department. And even if the trend goes, we will continue to deep dive into AI as well
absolutely.
as mathematics and computer science. Of
Hmm.
course, now that your question is more towards AI and how to integrate AI into the current society and how to bring in the compassion dimension into it. So that's a very beautiful question, brother. But we do see a lot of paradox in the current society. So
Hmm.
there is a lot of insecurity created by AI. So if you see, many companies are saying we are actually upgrading ourselves with AI and a lot of layoffs. And
Hmm.
we see that a lot of personal data is at the stake of somebody else. It's not anymore private. Lot of threats, but the paradox here is, in spite of all these threats, a lot of money is getting pumped into that. Industries are going full throttle in developing AI technologies. So that's
Absolutely.
where I think we should bring in a
Hmm.
balance between what the current world, humanity needs to what actually we are driving it to.
Hmm.
And also, we should not be just driven by vision of certain companies. As you are aware, companies are driven by profits. They don't really care for the quote unquote compassion or
Yeah,
any of
absolutely.
these
Yeah.
human driven terms.
Hmm.
So, a lot of insecurities being uh, coming into the society, and the aspect which our Bhagwan has been teaching is human values, ethics, compassion. And personally, we believe that both should be going hand in hand. And
Absolutely.
Swami has envisaged artificial intelligence long back in our department. And we are at a juncture in the department where we can bring in innovation in terms of bringing in human values, ethics. We do have some faculty. I should name one Dr. Bhaskaran. He is looking
Hmm.
at Swami's literature, how we can bring in Swami's literature through these large language models
Hmm.
and address some of the questions diving into Swami's literature through a large language model.
That's excellent.
So we do have,
Bhaskaran was my junior. I think he worked in the corporate and then actually joined back the institute, right?
yes, yeah, of course. He worked for about 8 to 9 years in IBM.
Ah,
Then he left IBM to join back Satyasai
excellent.
Institution. And,
Excellent.
yeah, he is one such purpose-driven person.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. That's
So,
good.
coming back to this, so at Satyasai Institution, we believe research should also go to the society and help them in whatever possible ways. And at DMAX, we look at certain analytics, how we can actually take forward analytics to bring some meaningful purpose into people's lives. And we also look at some important problems. Of course, we do theoretical works, but we also do this. Most of our projects are driven towards healthcare.
Hmm.
Maybe the also the influence of the super specialty hospital next to us, and we also have very good doctors in our tea time conversations or when we meet in Mandir.
Yeah.
So, in fact, today I was talking to Dr. Raghunath Sharma, and he was telling how he had a conversation with an orthopedic surgeon
Mm.
in Mandir while they were walking.
Mm.
Then they came up with a research project. So,
Excellent.
so that's the kind of, and that research project indeed took off in a very big way
Mm.
and gave very good results. So the thing is, much of research, as I am aware, goes up to the publication and stops there. So, but what we aim for is it should go back to the doctor, help the patient in some form or the other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's actually leading to the second theme of data-driven healthcare for rural communities, using analytics to detect, address, and prevent health issues in underserved areas as well. So, a couple of questions to you.
Yeah,
How can...
just to highlight that aspect.
Go ahead.
So it turns out that when we are looking for data, again, Swami has beautifully visioned the university to place it in a rural setting.
Yes,
So naturally, we get data from rural setting, and we
absolutely.
also tend to see the problems of villagers, right?
Yeah,
So, in fact, I can narrate one of the anecdotes. I mean, one aspect of what we had been doing in DMAX.
sure.
So we had this Gram Seva in a different format.
Mm.
So we had taken second MTech students few
Mhm.
years back. This was just before COVID, 1 year before COVID.
Mhm.
We took some students to Gram Seva, Marlapalli village.
Mm.
Actually, I had also been going there every month. We had visited.
Yeah,
One such event, if you permit me, I can
please
narrate.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. So, what happened? We went to this village periodically, almost fortnightly, monthly, and once we have also taken some doctors, and we
Mm.
had a preliminary check of about 85 elderly people,
Mhm.
because geriatric care is a very important aspect. And what we did with these MTech students, we got the data back and we had a thorough screening, ophthalmology, orthopedic, and many a cardiac screening, so many screenings. Then we also went to their house and saw where they are actually cooking, how they
Mm.
are actually sitting, their sitting positions. Then we took down all of this and then came back to our lab and then we
Mm.
did the analytics.
Excellent.
And then we actually went back to them, giving them solutions. And
Mm.
you won't believe me, most of the solutions are simple lifestyle changes.
Right.
It's
Mm.
not that they had to go for a major operation or a surgery. Very
Mm.
simple lifestyle changes. Oral hygiene, so use
Mm.
a good brush,
Mm.
use a chair, lift
Mm.
the elevation of the cooking place.
Mm.
It's a simple solutions
Yeah.
actually set the whole thing. And of course, there were a category of 20% of these elderly people who needed the ophthalmology care, orthopedic care. We did arrange some vehicles and then
Mm.
scheduled at our super specialty.
Wow.
And our doctors were kind enough to give one full session for them.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then we had a whole cycle of from end to end collecting the data to actually seeing that all these 85%, 85 people's problems were addressed, health related issues were addressed.
Excellent. Excellent.
And this was definitely a great learning exercise for us. And our students, MTech students, with all their academic work,
Mm.
they were dissatisfied. They were like, why are we not going every week?
Mm.
And in fact, I should tell you a very beautiful, and it was an eye opener to me.
Sure.
There was this farmer, because we went to each house and collected data.
Mm.
So there is this farmer who had this four desi cows,
Mhm.
and we asked what is the cost of milk per liter, and he
Mm.
says it is 35 rupees. Then we came back, and along with our research, we also found out that the same milk, when it is packaged by the middleman, it is sold almost at the cost of 100 rupees per
All right.
liter.
Mm.
Right. So personally, I went to the that particular villager and
Mm.
mentioned to him, saying,
Mm.
"See, you are underselling things. Maybe you
Mm.
should increase the price."
Mm.
And the answer he gave was really shocking. He said, "Raitu తల్లి లాంటి వాడు సార్," he said.
All right.
Okay.
Mm.
So he says farmer is like a mother to the society. we don't look for undue profits.
Mm.
So, I mean, these are the things which our students learn when they go to villages. And
Absolutely.
we pray that this should get carried forward and should definitely lead to transformation in the society.
Absolutely. I think it's great vision of Swami that he's established a university and the super specialty and the general hospital in a village setting where, and he promoted us, encouraged us to actually go and do village seva. It's such a great thing, right? I mean, people coming from all parts of India and abroad as students do not have this ecosystem, right? Who has the ecosystem? And it's so lovely to hear from you that you have the access to actually go to a village, sit, observe in terms of what they're doing, come back to your lab, figure it out in terms of how, if certain small changes can be actually done in their livelihood, it would actually enhance in terms of how they're living. So wonderful that.
You know, one of the very important observation a student made when we were visiting is it, sir, what is this? In these village houses, you have grandparents taking care of their grandchildren. Where are the parents? All of them
Mm,
went to cities to work and feed their families.
right.
So these
Mm,
are glaring truths. Unless we see it and observe through data, we don't get it actually.
absolutely.
And I feel that is data analytics.
Absolutely.
And the student who observed that, definitely it's a great lesson for him, and of course lesson to many of the teachers.
Mm. No, absolutely. One of my juniors, by name Nirbhay Kumar Lunde, he was always interested in CSR activities right through his career. He's got 20 years of experience and he's worked on the ground. Maybe I think 3 years he spent with Thomas Institute. But the kind of work he's doing, right, he's now the head for CSR for Prestige Group. Earlier, he was with CGI and worked with Wipro, a lot of these leaders. But the kind of work he's actually doing very, very different to the others because he's seen things on the ground. And that is basically because of the kind of background that Swami is blessing us with. So very nice to hear a lot of stories, Uday. And you're actually answering questions even before I'm asking, which is really good. But I'm just checking to see whether, do you have anything around AI-powered surveys and screenings can be scaled to reach more rural populations? Any stories around that? Or what role can other educational institutions play in bringing the healthcare gap in villages? So we are doing our bit, but how can we model in such a way that other universities also, take a lesson or two from us?
Yeah, of course. See, as DMAX, I'm sure you're also aware, we are more like academic. We sit with the book, sit and solve the problem. We don't get too much time or energy to go and interact with people as such. But when we do interact, the niche we create and the approach we take definitely is something very heartening to say, because I see that there's so much more mathematics can do, so much more computer science can do.
So,
Right. For us, it's not anymore textbook work. So there is
yes.
this subject area called subjective logic.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this particular logic system is mainly dealt in Bayesian networks in the machine learning setting,
Mhm.
where we are looking at information which is not trusted,
Okay.
or complete some missing information.
Right.
Right? So you bring in this aspect of subjective logic.
Mhm.
So driven by this particular domain, one of our professor, Dr. Raghunath Sharma,
Mhm.
he has coined a beautiful project, PhD, post doctoral work, along
Mhm.
with one Mr. P. Sunil Kumar,
Mhm.
on universal health care. And they had taken data from Ayushman Bharat.
Okay.
So this Ayushman Bharat data, they had a, huge repository of data. They also
Mhm.
consulted national health agencies
Mhm.
and took their advice, because there are a lot of ethical concerns, privacy concerns. So they wanted to approach the problem in a right way.
Right.
So they asked, okay, how do we get to know
Mhm.
whether a person has registered or taken a scheme or not? Because they
Right.
wanted to work on bringing awareness to a common man as well as a rural setting about some
Mhm.
of these schemes.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we use the subjective logic to actually translate the data into proper information?
Excellent.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned out that the national agency gave them an idea saying,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to a hospital and then ask them the data, they will not give you.
Yeah.
But you can always take the record of the patients. They will
Mm.
give you the patient's information, whether they have come visited the hospital or not, and
Mm.
maybe the name. And then you can go back to the patient and ask them. So they
Right.
have done such a long survey,
Mm.
and they have found that actually the awareness of these schemes in
Mm.
Ayushman Bharat is very low.
Right.
So they have also designed a questionnaire, which is not
Mm.
simply yes no type of questions. So
Right.
the questionnaire also is like the questions are interrelated, and
Mm.
if they are just saying simply yes, it should get there is a corrective mechanism for that.
Right.
And through these, they have also come up with a subjective measure. So in
Mm-hmm.
fact, Mr. Sunil Kumar's research is developing those subjective measures.
Excellent.
And
Excellent, Uday.
one simple outcome, he's actually getting his PhD most probably this convocation.
Excellent.
One
Okay.
of the simple outcomes is they made about 100 families register for some schemes.
Arre वाह.
And the most remarkable thing there was one girl actually had an ailment related to cardiac problem, and
Mm.
she needed a very big surgery.
Mm.
They availed, based on this scheme, they availed about 5 lakhs.
अरे वाह. Excellent.
So, I
Mm.
mean, Dr. Raghunath Sharma was so happy and excited about it. He did mention in several fora about this success story that
Absolutely.
we could cater to 100 families and immediately we could address one family's need.
Absolutely. I mean, it actually links up to one thing, Uday. I mean, recently part of the Spark Lab 1.0. So one of my mentees, Kartika, she's a data scientist at PepsiCo, and along with her husband Hitesh, she's also chief data scientist at one of the firms in Hyderabad. So both of them are actually trying to develop an AI app uh, which has access to all the government schemes and also maintain a database, rather take a database from the government and literally trying to help the poor people in terms of enhancing the awareness levels in terms of which schemes are eligible for whom kind of. So they've started the work, but maybe sometime later I'll
Yeah, that would be
connect you guys so that you know.
wonderful, wonderful. I mean,
Mm,
we would be very happy any such societal relevant projects come forward. In fact, let me mention that this is the paradox I see. So
mm,
I did have a chat with Dr. Raghunath Sharma and asked him, where do you see there is a clear gap?
yeah,
And he says the gap is that you need more skilled workers.
uh,
Healthcare workers are required.
absolutely.
Now, if you really see from a company's point of view, they are trying to lay off people and then send them back home, all that, right?
Mm, mm,
But actually, if you see, there is a sector where there is a requirement for more people, more
absolutely.
skill.
Absolutely.
Why are
So,
not people looking there? So this is what actually was a research outcome, one of his outcomes of the PhD.
no, absolutely. So while we were digging data, what happened was, industry leaders also were very interested in this particular project. So they gave references of people who are already working in this area. And one of the companies based in Bangalore, it's an India-based company, and they've got licenses with the government in terms of access to all the schemes. And there's a 50 FT department which actually ensures the schemes are updated in their database because they keep actually changing, right? So 50-member team actually looks at all the schemes of the government, right from the state to the central government schemes, ensures the database is updated, and then a lot of agencies and NGOs actually take that particular data and go into the public. That's where when I was speaking to one of the leaders from got an IM background, he was sharing the ground reality. Because when we started out with AI app, we thought, okay, this is going to be, uh, going to change the way things used to happen. He gave us a grounding, saying that, you when you want to apply for a scheme, you need to put a paper and a pen, and the form has to be given by that particular officer. Only that form has to be used, and with a pen they need to write down the application. You can't make it, you know, digitalized. And they actually tried it. And when they went to the market, they tried to digitalize all the input forms. And when they printed it and then shared with the officer, government officer, they're saying, we will not accept that. You will have to fill up this particular form in this particular color pen. So that's when we got the grounding, saying that things, especially for the government schemes, are very, very bureaucratic. At the same time, they're Ashavadi workers, the health workers you're talking about, right? Who help these poor people fill up that. They actually fill up on their behalf. And they're so conversant with the entire scheme in terms of who's eligible, who's not, that sometimes they demand from the officers saying that this particular case is eligible. Why are you actually declining it? And then getting the benefits to the poor people. So we actually went through that, and that's when we changed the entire model. So I think maybe post a call, I'll connect with these guys to your
But
researcher. That will help.
actually, yeah, that's definitely a very good input we would love to take, and maybe we would like to have a dialogue with them. Just to add one more point, that now taking this problem forward, Dr. Raghunath Sharma is having one more PhD problem on conversational AI.
Yeah.
So they are looking at all Indic languages, and
Mm.
they are trying to see how to address the same Ayushman Bharat problems through Indian languages and AI driven.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think there is a good intersection in terms of whatever you are saying, and we should all sit across and discuss this.
No, absolutely. Because these
Yeah,
guys are using the latest
beautiful,
tools in the market, because that's what they do. They're very, very conversant there. And
beautiful.
I think having a bit of research orientation would help them. And I think it's a win-win situation for both. So I'll connect post the call for that. Lovely conversation. I'm really liking it. I think moving on to transparency and equity in rural economics. That's the next theme. Couple of questions are around how can technology and analytics empower farmers to achieve fair market value without middleman exploitation, and what policy or grassroots interventions can preserve ethics while improving rural lives. These are the couple of.
Yeah, so as I said, I think as I've already mentioned about that one farmer whom I had a conversation with, I think it all
Mm,
boils down to the mindset.
yeah.
So a lot of us, or rather, a lot of market is looking only at profit,
Mm,
but I don't think the poor farmer is looking at profit or how to maximize their benefit.
right.
So I think we are solving two different problems. They are not
Mm,
solving the problem of maximization. They are
mm,
solving the problem of how do we just cater to a society.
right.
Through that, I would get my means of living. That's
Absolutely.
how, I mean, they are still in the olden day setting.
Mm,
And now the world has moved forward with a totally different ideology.
absolutely.
I think one of the main things, in fact, when I heard that farmer say that a farmer is like mother to the society,
Mm,
I mean, I almost had a tear in my eye.
mm,
I mean, like, where are these people? I mean,
mm,
we don't see this sort of values in our current society. I
absolutely.
think we should have a balance when we are talking about equity. I think
Mm,
why we would have more people coming towards a philosophy of I have to maximize, or a capitalistic philosophy,
mm,
mainly because a majority of the population is not thinking in the mindset of societal service.
absolutely.
And how do we see ourselves as we are just part of the society and we are
Mm,
doing our bit?
absolutely.
Much of societal thinking now is like, how do we get the best out of it?
Yeah,
What is it for me? So
absolutely.
when
Yeah.
this thinking raises, I think the
Mm,
question of equity itself gets into a jeopardy, right? We
mm,
don't have
absolutely.
a true definition of what is equality, what is equity, and are we saying we will take away from somebody and give somebody? I
Mm,
think computer science has good answers to them
mm,
as well. I mean, that's what we believe. It you with some projects we are doing, we see that there is definitely a lot of scope there. And
mm,
your question definitely is spot on. Maybe I cannot answer that question in a full-fledged manner because my background doesn't support it, but I do know
mm,
that it's coming because of different mindsets of people. There are mindsets where they want to do service seva. There are other mindsets who want to maximize.
Hmm.
So I think the mindset has to be addressed first.
No, absolutely. I think it's the same mindset back in the corporate. I could link it when you were talking, right? I could link it to what's happening in the corporate, rather has been happening in the corporates. So I've been there. I worked for HSBC for 10 years and with Wells Fargo for 5 years, US and UK Bank 15 years
Okay.
of career before I started off my own venture called SciEquity. What I've seen is, the MNC culture is very competitive. They ensure that people inside a team actually compete with each other, even though they have to work as a team. And the values and the mission of the company is really good. When you really look at, can't name the banks, but no, excellent mission, excellent values they actually want to serve. But when you see the banks themselves, especially the Europe and the US ones, every year they keep uh, paying fines because they have actually done a lot of GAPLAs. And from what I've actually seen, the CEO of the company, uh, where something wrong was actually done under the leadership, is questioned by a US senator sitting in US, doesn't want to resign, doesn't want to give up his income and whatever benefits he's going to get, hiding behind the fact that the board is going to take a call. And when I actually saw it, it's so much of selfishness has crept into the organizations right from the top. And if people are on the top are like that, what can the bottom level people do? So they, for selfish reasons, self-serving, they will have to be competitive. And with this kind of mindset over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, when they come out, let's say they've been pushed out from a layoffs kind of situation, they struggle, and there's kind of intervention coming up for them as well because they're 50, 55 years old, made their money, but the entire orientation was compete with someone else and, gain more, whatever income or whatever for ourselves, right? Coming to society, where is the thought process? The farmer beautifully said that, I'm the mother of the society, and that's the super intent, compassionate intent that he has. And listening to that itself is giving us kind of shivers. You don't find these people in the corporate, maybe to an extent, some percentage are still there. But I can very much connect to what you're trying to say, Uday, and I'm just relating to what's
Oh,
happening in the
beautiful, brother.
corporates.
Now means that gives us a perspective as well. And
Yeah.
now, actually, see, we are not so much into research, or we are more of an education system. It sometimes I ponder over these things. So
Mm,
Bhagavad Gita says, "Sukha dukkhe same krutva." Balance your happiness, sorrow,
yeah.
right? But if you really look at the society, the way
Mm,
we learn education,
mm.
run away from pain, embrace
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
So, I mean, uh, essentially, what we should be addressing in the so-called AI world right now is,
Mm,
how do we actually help our students, help our
mm,
younger generation see
mm.
it in a much more better light? Because you're talking about the so-called middle-aged person who has gone through a whole process of turmoil, and then he established a mindset.
Yeah,
But his own son or a daughter would grow up with that mindset,
absolutely.
and they would not even understand what we are talking.
No, absolutely.
So that's like kind of they have a blind spot where they don't even understand that actually money is not the whole thing. Everything doesn't translate to money. Now India is moving towards that. And I mean,
Mm,
I mean, this may be a kind of analytics problem we should capture, but I see a
mm.
lot of children nowadays. If you ask what food do you like, they tell pizza.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell Italy?
Mm,
I'm surprised actually. I actually have this problem where we want to remodel or reverse engineer the analytics and see what kind of information is being passed on to students. It's
mm.
a lot of research work that can be done actually.
Absolutely.
And we are bombarded with the kind of information. And are we really wanting that? Or have we
Mm,
subscribed it without our knowledge?
mm.
Right. And I see there is a huge amount of research that can be done. And I'm just praying that, yeah, we should take some corrective measures, or maybe at least start seeing a prevention way before it harms our society in a bigger way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Uday. I agree with you there. So coming to the last theme on interdisciplinary research for the future, and you correct me whether you try to answer this question before. Couple of questions around how can cross-domain collaboration between mathematics, AI, and healthcare create transformative solutions. I think some of them you've listed. And
Yeah.
what emerging fields should young researchers focus on to remain relevant and impactful over the next decade, according to
Yeah. So let me digress a bit from AI and also focus on the kind of research and the kind of newer areas DMAX is stepping into. So at the Department of Mathematics, as I mentioned before, we are three verticals: mathematics, computer science, and AI. Previously, AI was part of computer science. Now it branched off. It got its own life. So we are identifying as three areas.
Hmm.
So in mathematics, we do a lot of theoretical works
Hmm.
and we try to see how it connects with
Hmm.
some relevant problems.
Right.
So recently, we have a researcher who has done works on fractals.
Hmm.
His PhD is from IIT Madras and then he's settled here as a faculty. His research is looking at how he can use fractals for biomedical problems
Ah.
and also the fingerprint problem,
Hmm.
not just biomedical, even the forensic data and
Hmm.
the biometrics.
Hmm.
So we are looking at how do we connect the so-called pure mathematics to hardcore applied problems.
So,
Then we are also having some of our faculty looking at mathematical biology, an intersection of two different areas.
hmm.
Have some researchers working on leprosy problem.
Hmm.
How do we address it at the national level? We also have researchers in control theory. How do
Hmm.
we mitigate the issues that come up in networks? So this
Right.
is something to do with mathematics.
Sure.
Coming to computer science, we also have research currently, a lot of work happening in architecture, computer architecture,
Hmm.
right? So if you see the current trend in computer hardware domain, semiconductor industries are coming to India now.
Right.
And thanks to Swami, many of the devotees who are in top positions in IBM, in top positions in big universities like Cornell, yeah, you must be knowing David Grease, right?
Yeah.
He must have taught you as well.
Yeah.
So they have given us inputs, and
Hmm.
those inputs are being surviving in our department from long since.
Hmm.
We do have that architecture vertical. We are
Hmm.
also looking at quantum computing, and
Excellent.
quantum computing is definitely going to be the next big wave,
Right.
as big as AI wave.
Hmm.
And we are looking at that. We already had an established HIPC lab.
Hmm.
Then we also have researchers looking at hardcore AI problems, deep learning problems in reinforcement learning,
Hmm.
privacy preserving machine learning. So
Hmm.
some of these privacy preserving machine learning is a very important area
Hmm.
because much of our data, right, is in wrong hands.
Yeah.
So we definitely want it to be in a encrypted form.
Yes.
Even if we want to send it to a cloud for computation purpose, we
Hmm.
want to send it in an encrypted form.
Right.
Right. And then we also have cyber security vertical developing
Hmm.
in the department.
Hmm.
So we are definitely looking for the next 5 to 10 years. We want to make good difference in the society through some of these research.
Excellent. Excellent, Uday. I think I had a very lovely conversation this afternoon with you. Uh, a lot of impactful research which had a direct impact on villagers is something which we shared throughout this particular podcast. I think a lot of listeners are going to love the kind of stories you have come across over there. So in terms of what we have covered, AI with compassion for society is how we actually started off. We looked at data-driven healthcare for rural communities. We also looked at transparency and equity in rural economics. I think where you shared the Amarapalli milk pricing example, explainable AI for public health schemes like Ayushman Bharat, and finally we looked at the interdisciplinary research for the future as such. So only five themes as of now, and as you rightly said, I think we should have more such podcasts uh, so that a lot of awareness can be driven to the society because it's very important from a raising awareness standpoint. I think the university right from the inception, the vision is been very clear. Right, we all the research has to be useful for the society. That's the kind of vision that Swami always has and had, and every researcher I've seen across the departments that I've interviewed. have this particular focus very, very clear. And I think this is actually going out to the society now in the right way, where people are aware. At institutions, other universities, foreign or India, are will be aware in terms of the kind of research Sri Satsai of Higher Learning is driving or is being driving since the inception. So thanks a lot for playing a great role. And I've been telling in the last two podcasts. I'll give you time now. The last two HODs. Were a combination of a Virat Kohli and a Sachin Tendulkar, every question. And you're continuing that kind of streams, a hat trick kind of a podcast where you guys are playing to your potential. Then the ground in a cricket ground in Parthi is actually helping you guys to hit sixes for every question, I guess. So excellent job again.
Of
Over to you.
course, brother, let me conclude with this beautiful insight Swami gave. Maybe this is also apt in many ways. So one of our faculty asked Swami back then, about 20 years back, Swami, would machines take over men? So would it happen now? I mean, more or less, we see that ChatGPT, many things, right? But that's only a partial truth. So if you really see the cognitive aspect, it is still not, and there's a very long way to go. And if you actually heard the recent podcast in which Jeffrey Hinton says the jobs that are going to come back are plumbers' jobs, etc. Right? So, I mean, the similar question was addressed to Swami,
right,
but in a very spiritual and a very deep manner. And Swami said, never. But keep pregna ledura, Swami said. They don't have awareness. So we always are at the helm of things. It's just that we have to protect our awareness. And I should be, again, very grateful and thankful to Swami that we are living in an ecosystem in Puttaparthi. We are like fish in water.
Yes.
Right? So some of this awareness is existing where we see that, okay, Swami taught us this. Every other day we bump into this kind of discussions. And I'm definitely not surprised. Other head of departments also mentioned to you similar things. So
yes,
I think because we are living in this kind of surroundings,
yes,
as Swami put it, some awareness is there. And if we can bring this awareness with much more purpose, I think we have served some.
Absolutely. Innovation with Purpose podcast series. That's the entire intent over there. Nicely signed off over there. So thanks so much for your time. I'll pull you in again with another topic. Thank you so much. Saira.